Good morning, everyone. Lovely to join you again from a new home. I'm in a new place, a new studio, but it looks the same. It probably looks the same to you because, of course, it's the green screen behind me. It's fake. But yes, good morning from my new home. I'll come to that in a moment, a little of a personal story. But for the first-time viewers, welcome to Solid Ground. It's lovely to have you here. Solid Ground is where we talk what captures my mind over the last 36, 48 hours since the last Solid Ground on Tuesday. So it's my chance to talk the cultural, the social, the political issues of the day, things that have caught my eye from, I think, a solid ground of good philosophy, faith, theology and politics. But you might disagree, which means there's a wonderful opportunity to put your comments in, which come to me live here in the studio. So if you're following this, as you will be, across an array of platforms, know if you're on Family First YouTube channel or its Facebook page, those comments will come live to me here in the studio, and so I can respond to them, as I will in a moment, to all the wonderful people saying good morning. I can see that streaming in to say good morning to you all. Oh, excuse me. And of course, if there's topics I'm discussing that you've got feedback, love to hear that. But if there's something else happening that you go, hey, Simon, talk about that, do let me know, because I'm always happy to do my best. With some familiar faces, Harrison's doing me a little bit of a shout out already, because tonight, we're looking for the right, there we go. Tonight, we've got our political playback. It's our 50th episode, and I've been joined by Tanya Unkovic on that, which is going to be brilliant. To Lynette, good morning to you. Dean, lovely to have you along. We've got Dee Dee there, good morning to you. We've got Michael, hello. Jackie there from Raitihi, good to have you along as always. Chris is asking about the, whoops, I've missed it, where's the button? There it is, yes, about the house move. Good morning to Catherine down there in Dunedin. Got Rosie, lovely to have you along. They're all asked about the house move. I'll give you a heads up. And we've got there Adrian, lovely to have you along as well. God, I'm clicking buttons all over the place. We've got Food Dogs Trucking, which you can still see after all these weeks, still makes me laugh. And yes, Catherine is right. I do look very tired. I feel very tired. I have to admit, people. It's been a wonderful but very intense few days. So just a few personal things before I jump into the big issues, as we say. We've moved house. Good morning, Sandra, to seeing you popping on there. Lovely to have you along. So just a reminder to people, if you're on the Facebook page of Family First or on its YouTube channel, your comments like Sandra and Food Dogs Trucking, Adrian, Harrison and others comes to me live here in the studio. And as I say, you can comment on anything I'm discussing, or if there's something else happening, you go, hey, talk to me about that. Will do my best to do so. But yeah, Catherine is saying I look very tired. I've got to say hello to Iona there in the Waitakere. Lovely to have you along. Look, I only get a small picture there, but that looks a very beautiful photo, and also it looks like a beautiful little peppy there. Lovely to Murray, good morning. Lovely to have you. So yeah, we've been moving house. Excuse me. I've been distracted. As a question, and see now Elizabeth has called me out. She's asking a question here, thoughts on the bloomers showing up at the Scottish COVID inquiry. I assume that's Ashley Bloomfield, but I think Elizabeth's put me on the mat here because I'm not up to speed on that. But if it is the likes of Ashley Bloomfield or others who refuse to turn up to the New Zealand COVID inquiry, well then that is just hypocrisy writ large. But I have to admit, I haven't followed the news closely enough, but I suspect that's what Elizabeth is mentioning, that the likes of Ashley Bloomfield, of course the man who ran our COVID inquiry, not a COVID inquiry, apologies, ran the COVID response here in New Zealand, did not turn up to New Zealand's COVID inquiry, didn't front, nor did Jacinda Ardern or Chris Hipkins. You'll remember that was in the news about a month ago. They just refused to turn up. They just submitted evidence, if you will, in writing, but wouldn't turn up in person. The irony being, and Elizabeth will know this, that of course they talked often and frequently during COVID. In fact, we were told they were the single source of truth. But it looks like from this question from Elizabeth that, yeah, Bloomfield's decided it's perfectly fine to go to Scotland and speak in person. And, as I said just a moment ago, it's just hypocrisy writ large, isn't it? It also says a sort of an element of disdain for New Zealanders. Actually also tells you about the nature, now that I think about it out loud, tells you about how they ran the COVID response. If you think from the mandates through to everything else, there was an arrogance in it when you really think about it, if they're displaying these double standards. But yeah, apologies, Elizabeth, I think you've caught me out, as I keep saying. Jackie's saying that she saw that news on the RCR Bites, which now is doubly catching me out, that I haven't got to them this morning. To Yolande, lovely to have you along. And as Harrison is noting in response to Elizabeth's question around Bloomfield going to Scotland, which I'm assuming that's what it is nailed it to, happy to turn up for interviews with Oprah Winfrey and others. And as Dee Dee's saying, typical Marxists. So yeah. Anyway, house move. We've moved house. We settled today. So I'm still in Auckland. We haven't actually moved too far, so I'm out in the Eastern Bay. So I think sort of the Mission Bay, Kohi, St Heliers is where Rachel and I live. So our youngest is with us still, although he's moving into his own place in a couple of weeks' time. Our second youngest, she's now flatting in town. So we've downsized, and it's we've been in our new place for 2 nights. It's much smaller, so our family home was 6 bedrooms, so very big property, big home, big family, big rates, big bills. But it was being time to downsize. In fact, we've been talking about this for about, 15 years, almost as long as I've known Rachel. And certainly since we've been married, which is coming up 9 years, we've been talking about moving, time to, simplify things. Because, probably about 5 years ago, the 3 eldest effectively moved out at different stages. So it was just a sense that, we needed to change. We wanted something simpler, and I'm doing a lot more. Well, we're doing a lot more traveling at the moment. In fact, this weekend we fly out to Utah, of all places. In fact, right next door to where Charlie Kirk was shot. Rachel and I are going over for a legal symposium. I'm actually giving a talk on religious freedom at a university there. So it has been full on, as you can imagine, and Rachel's been in the home 32 years. 32 years. So quite a big effort to pack everything down. We had some amazing people help us. Actually, they're called Pronto Movers. Antonio and his crew here are just fantastic. We had to do 3 sets of moves just to position everything where it needed to be, including where the kids were moving to. So it's been big, but as Catherine noted, I am looking tired. It's been some very full-on days. I can't help myself. I hate people doing things for me if I'm not willing to do them myself. So I was very much involved as far as I could be, helping with the move. And yesterday, in and around my work, so I was preparing a podcast. In fact, the latest podcast was this one here with the Israeli ambassador, Alon Roth-Snir. He's been in New Zealand about 7 months, so I sat down. This is actually a really long form, almost an hour. He and I talk, obviously from the Israeli perspective, but look, some fascinating insights to what is happening in Israel, why the war is being conducted, the way it is. So in between sorting out podcasts, some work for some other clients, doing some writing, was also busily actually hanging curtains, putting in doorstops, a little bit of painting. So I've been very early starts and a couple of very late nights. So yes, all very tired. Therese or Teresa, lovely to have you along. Apologies if I've pronounced that wrong, but lovely to have you along here. Harrison saying, so Harrison was a student of Rachel, so he knows our house. Yes, our neighbours did let us use their tennis court. We won't be able to use that anymore, but that's all right. And look, thank you for everyone who's commenting through around the COVID inquiry, that Elizabeth's original question, as Rosie says, why wouldn't they turn up? Well, let's hope you don't get made redundant. This is Trey wanting to listen more. I don't think losing the job is going to be compensated by listening to me. As I say, this is the podcast coming up, which will be great. Have a listen to that. Speaking of that, I was struck by this story. I'm not going to spend much more time on the Palestine, Gaza, Israel question, but on the day that Australia recognised Palestinians' statehood, and don't go and watch the video, I have, it's god-awful, but basically Hamas executed 3 men who they're accused of being collaborators. Now, whether they were or not, who knows? But, just as a bit of a hint of what Albanese and Keir Starmer in the UK and Macron in France have done, they've recognised this state, but the state is Hamas, who basically took these 3 men, no court, no justice system, just took them on the street, blindfolded them, as you can see there, put them on their knees and then shot them through the head. That's what those supporting Palestinian statehood, I'm sad to say, are supporting. Which is absolutely terrible. And then I just wanted to quickly remind you guys of this and the next story. I touched on this on Tuesday, but again, just a reminder, be really, including in shows like this, always, I talk about a hermeneutic of suspicion, which is just big words to say always, exercise a lot of judgment about what you see, hear, and read online. And really to draw your attention once again to the likes of Wikipedia, which I used to use or reference a lot. All the time. But now it's becoming more and more politicised. The left in particular have taken it over, including around this story again. This is the Ukrainian refugee sitting on a train in the States and was stabbed to death by a career criminal. And the Wikipedia editors try to erase the story. And Wikipedia as well, and I mentioned this on Tuesday, but I just wanted to come back to it. This is not her who attempted to kill Brent Kavanaugh. It was a biological man. But again, the ideology, that woke ideology around transactivism is, is running deep. And so again, misleading, very misleading. And then unrelated to, this was sort of like almost the joke of the week for me. Though it's been around for a few days, I've clearly not shared it yet, but this is not about Wikipedia, but this is just the absurdity that is of gender ideology. Trans women at risk of genital mutilation. They're talking about men here. It's just ridiculous on 3 levels. One, it's actually an insult to women who have to face this type of mutilation. Still happens a lot in Africa, sadly. So it's an insult to women. Secondly, it's an insult to intelligence, because of course this cannot happen, does not happen in the same way. But the third irony, and I'm not sure even the Telegraph picked up on this, it's biological men choosing to mutilate themselves. It's not female genital mutilation, but this is one of the great tragedies. And we heard this from the detransitioners that Family First had at our forum about a month ago. In fact, we need to release those videos fully. We are still talking to the detransitioners. They just spoke so powerfully at the forum. But these were young women who wanted to become men, and one of them actually had a double mastectomy. So, as we all know, this trans ideology is not just a belief system in the head. The use of those puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones does enormous damage, I believe, to the body. And then when you actually are beginning to cut the body and change, it is mutilation. Perfectly healthy limbs. And as Catherine is noting, which is a very astute comment, it's endless and does show no bounds. I think it's just absolutely awful. And then I keep repeating myself this morning. Again, I apologise. I am tired. You just end up with absurd, stupid headlines like this. It's just maddening. On a different topic, because I thought we should actually quickly talk about Charlie Kirk. As I say, I'm off to Utah on the weekend, the university right next to where he was shot. So Rachel and I actually will go there and pay our respects. Obviously not Arizona, but where he was shot. Part of me feels, I'll be honest with you guys, a little bit awkward. I'm not one of these people who chases tragedies. I was with some friends recently on a road trip, and where I wanted to go and visit was very different to them. They wanted to go to where sort of significant crimes had happened. Not my general cup of tea. I see. So I won't put on screen. There's some very good comments coming through. We're off to Utah, and we'll be thinking of Charlie Kirk. So I just wanted to share 2 videos The first is, I just took this from the BBC actually, which I thought was just some of the really nice highlights coming out of his service, the memorial service, and I'll just give some quick thoughts on that.
You know, I can't help but think that they tried to silence my friend Charlie Kirk. They tried to silence our dear friend Charlie Kirk. And tonight, we speak with Charlie and for Charlie louder than ever.
On the afternoon of September 10th, I arrived at a Utah hospital to do the unthinkable, to look directly at my husband's murdered body. Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Because today, America is a nation in grief, a nation in shock, and a nation in mourning. He's a martyr now for American freedom. I know I speak for everyone here today when I say that none of us will ever forget Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I just thought it was quite a good highlights reel, as Lee puts it. One of the best church services. I mean, literally millions of, there was about 100,000 people, I think, in two stadia, or two stadiums, depending on your preference, and outside, but literally millions watching. And yeah, I think it was quite something, and that was my first point. I was struck how media and commentators couldn't quite cope with it. Yeah, couldn't quite cope with it. Hope that... Hey, look at that. I have not had one of those little emojis before. That's brilliant, Karen. Well, Karen, again, apologies if I get people's pronunciations wrong. Excuse me. But yeah, I just thought it was an amazing service in and of itself, just bringing people together. Obviously a very, very strong Christian element to it. And strangely, perhaps, or maybe not, media didn't seem to be able to cope with it so well, or the commentators. I mean, they obviously shared the stories, but a lot of comments about it was a very, very Christian service. Well, why wouldn't it be? It was a very big part of Charlie's life. In fact, he said it was the most important thing in his life. But what I think it betrays in the commentariat is a deep uncomfortability with Christianity being on display. More than happy to see other religions celebrated, even, massive protests. I talked about it, and actually I steal the idea from others, but, prayer as protest has become quite a big thing. We see that particularly in Islamic communities where entire roads will be blocked. Melbourne Cathedral recently had a massive prayer service around it. Again, prayer as protest. They seem to be able to cope with that, the media that is, but when it comes to Christian prayer, they seem to struggle. But I thought the second thing was just in a powerful witness, and Harrison was asking in one of the questions around why she would forgive the killer. I suppose it's a very important part of the Christian ethos, as difficult as it is to forgive those that harm us. It doesn't mean that you forget what they did. It doesn't mean that she justifies or thinks the guy is innocent in any way. I'm sure she still feels enormous anger. But the thing about forgiveness is to try and, if you will, hand over some of that grief, anger, frustration, and horror, so as to move on. It's one of the most powerful things I think we can do as human beings. And I mean, incredible kudos to her for doing so. Very, very, very powerful. And as I say, just huge testimony to, obviously, I think the growing power of conservatism. I thought Trump's speech, I did listen to it. Rach and I were driving back from Mount Maunganui, so we put it on and listened in the car. Very Donald Trump, 45 minutes. I've given you a very short version. Some lovely pieces. but some moments where he went completely off the piste, I have to say. He does make me laugh. And I just see Dennis here is saying that David Seymour's just been on with Hoskins and said around the Palestinian announcement, I don't think he did. Oh, he didn't say, so I can see the whole thing here now reading. He didn't say what will be announced. Hoskin felt what Seymour said was insightful. I'm going to have to listen to it. Yeah, as I just keep coming back to people, we can discuss the concept of a Palestinian state, but it really is a reward for terror. And as I shared on Tuesday, the fact that Hamas and other fundamentalists are celebrating this as a victory, saying to their people, look, all this heartbreak, all this killing of Jews is giving us a state. It's the wrong thing to do, and also it sends, I put it on my Facebook actually, it sends a terrible message out to other jihadist groups and other violent terroristic groups that, you know, the West will buckle, attack us, butcher us, act barbarously, and the West will buckle. It's just no good. But yeah, as a quick sideline, so I was saying Trump's speech, I thought Kirk's speech was a bit, for me, a bit quirky, but yes, his UN speech, as Dee Dee says, was a real humdinger, still very classic Trump. I don't know about you guys, I sort of factor that in. It's almost like a filter for me. There's certain things that he does and says, I just sort of filter it away. But I thought, just quickly coming back to Charlie Kirk, this is actually at Mount Maunganui. This is a very short video I took, just to give you a sense of how New Zealanders reacted, because I know literally thousands gathered to remember him. So this was just a very, very short video that I took of about 200 people, I'd estimate, at Mount Maunganui Beach. Yeah, I'm an amateur videographer, but it was lovely, very cold, very windy too. But yeah, about 200 people there on the main beach, and quite touching. Again, a very Christian service to remember him. But as I keep saying, Charlie was Christian. It's an important faith, and actually it's a big part of conservatism. You don't have to be Christian to be a conservative, but I think a lot of conservative values like life and liberty, for example, amongst others, are very much based in the Judeo-Christian mindset. In fact, it's part of that talk I'm giving at the symposium in about a week's time, is those Judeo-Christian underpinnings. Guys, I'm going to leave it there, but just a reminder, of course, check out the latest podcast, a very deep dive in and onto the topics of Israel-Gaza, with His Excellency, the Israeli Ambassador. As you know, I'm still writing. I haven't actually written one this week with all the moving going on. It's been a bit of a challenge. And of course, tonight, hopefully I'll be more awake. Tonight we've got political playback, 5 o'clock live. Tanya Unkovic is our guest because Bob is away. So join us there. But in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. I look forward to talking to you tonight. And again next Tuesday.